Rock me, mama.
Welcome back.
Hello.
This one's going to be a little more lighthearted than the last one.
Yeah, we're not going to cry. We can't make any promises.
Can't make promises. I'm Macy.
And I'm Amy, and this is Rock Me, Mama.
I'm leaving the singing to her.
Yeah. Rock me, mama, rock me, mama. Okay.
Again, I'm going to leave the singing to you.
No, that's my Hootie impression.
You nailed it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So we're talking about, I don't want to say fourth trimester, because fourth trimester, I feel like isn't like all encompassing, just like we have a lot of like episodes that will cover topics of fourth trimester. This is just the initial like, oh, we brought this thing home.
No, it's like, you're going to let me take this fucking thing home?
Yeah.
When they pack you up and they're like, the nurses start giving you shit and you're like, oh, I'm going to put this stuff in my bag. And then they bring you out to your car and you're like, wait.
Where's the nurse?
Wait, am I leaving the hospital?
You're not coming with me? Because you're catered to every second in the hospital. And if you have a question as dumb as like, hey, is my baby supposed to blink?
Yeah.
Then they'll come and they'll answer it. And then all of a sudden, they're not there.
They let you take it home and you're just like, oh, I'm not ready.
Yeah. I will never forget Chase. If Chase was here, this would be the first thing that he brought up right now. The way that man drove our car home from the hospital.
Like a grandpa?
The most grandpa of all grandpas. The grandpa-iest. Like literally.
Because you have the
both
tiniest,
hands
most
on the
fragile.
wheel, looking back, but also like scared to look back and was like, is he okay? Are we good? I mean, just so scared. Which
and you don't even know how to use a car seat.
No.
You put it in your car, but you don't know how to fucking use it.
You're I asked a nurse to come out and do it. And she was like, well, this isn't like part of what. And I was like, please, for the love of God, come put my baby in this car seat.
Yeah.
And she did. But yeah, the terrified, just everything starts from the second you are crossing the threshold of hospital to parking lot.
I remember literally the walk out to the car and Nick pulled the car right to the thing. And I just remember, because obviously C-section, you barely are walking. I mean, getting in the car, I had to have people help.
Yeah.
Because you can't, you don't want to tear yourself open. You have to be really careful. But I just remember that walk through that hallway with Farrah in the little car seat. We brought it in and Nick put her in and we...
Yeah, I don't know why we weren't advised to do that.
We did that just because, and also my husband's so cute. We practiced, he practiced the car seat.
So sweet.
Yeah,
sweet
he
Nick.
practiced doing the car seat a bunch of times and like putting it in the car and clicking it in. Like we practiced a lot of stuff because as you guys know now, I'm a fucking psycho and I need everything just so. So...
Producer Morg just laughed.
Yeah, producer Morg is like, yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, Macy confirmed. Morgan laughed.
Yeah, I'm a fucking psycho. So it's like I needed to know everything was going to be right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember that walk and I just remember thinking like, how are we?
Well, it's funny. There's like a chain of emotions. Like you walk out and you're like, we get to go home. And you're so excited to get to go home. And then
because you definitely do want to leave the hospital.
For sure, you're ready. And there's a few more steps and you're like, I'm so proud. This is my family of 3. And then there's a few more steps as you're like, you can see the like automatic doors opening and closing to the parking lot. And you're like, oh, okay, we're going to go home now.
Yeah.
And then the second your foot touches the like parking garage floor, you're like, terror.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And there's just, you go from like euphoria to pride to just doubt.
Yeah.
Just
well, and also, I mean, talk about just like leaving one way and coming back another.
Well, not the same human.
You leave one way, packed for a new life, having no fucking idea, and you come back with baby blues, a different body, a wound, regardless of how you gave birth.
At least one wound. Yeah.
And something to keep alive that is the tiniest thing. Even if you have a big baby, it's the tiniest little thing and it cries. And all babies do. They're just little blobs. They cry, they shit, they eat.
And they suck.
They suck.
Yeah. That's it.
They cry, they shit, they eat. They cry, they shit, they eat.
Yeah.
And it is so crazy to keep up with that, and they're not on the circadian clock or what it's like. Their circadian clock is opposite.
Yeah.
So they're like awake at all the craziest hours. And in the hospital, it's kind of like it's an alternate universe, so time doesn't matter.
No.
But once
you don't
you
know
get
what time it
home,
is.
time matters.
Yeah.
Once you get home, you're like, this is morning and this is night.
Yeah.
And neither one of them matter
No.
to this fucking kid.
No, because you're feeding every 2. E was so small when he was 4 pounds 10 ounces when we brought him home. So I was
Wow.
feeding every 2 hours.
I was
no
feeding
more
her
time.
cluster feeding. I mean,
Yeah.
I would say that she was never off my boob.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we talked about pumping, and then you're pumping, and
And then it's time to do
and
it
then
again.
you got your mom and your fucking mother-in-law and your sister-in-law and your brothers and and everyone's coming to try to, and thank God they are, because you need them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You need their help, but also at the same time you want to be left alone.
Yeah.
You want to sleep, but you can't sleep. You can't sleep.
Well, that's
There's
what
no time to
motherhood
sleep.
is. It's wanting one thing and it
Yeah.
being the other, or feeling one thing and also feeling the
I
other.
remember like my mom came before I gave birth and she set up my changing table, and she set up, because I had Farah's room all done, and I thought, oh, this looks beautiful, like it's so ready. And my mom walked in and my mom was like, "Pfft." And my mom just went to town. She was like, you need this functional.
Yeah.
She's like, function is your only purpose right now.
Yeah.
You don't give a fuck about the pretty bows and the little ribbons and the little, like, the bunny with the flowers in its hair. I'm
Right.
like, but that's so. She's like, you don't give a fuck. You need the changing table. You need the diaper,
Genie.
the diaper genie.
Yeah.
You need wipes up the fucking wazoo. You need wipes for the face, the drool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's constant drool. It's constant spit up. It's constant poo and pee. You need a diaper for every hour.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, remember in the hospital when they checked, they're like, how many poos, how many pees? You have to write it down.
yeah, it's so much.
It's so stressful.
Well, and they're keeping up with it there, and then you get home and you're like, yeah, do I have to keep up with it? Oh my gosh, do I need like
And then
an app? What do I?
and then you go in 6, and they're like, as soon as they see they're like, how many poos and how many pees a day? And you remember that shit? It's hard to remember.
I don't remember
because
that.
it's almost like you get immediate amnesia because of how stressful it is.
and you're exhausted. You like forget so many things I think about.
And then you're breastfeeding and you're breastfeeding constantly, nonstop. And for us, I don't know about you, Eli's a really good sleeper, so I anticipate that he probably slept really well from the beginning. Farah did not sleep. So
Yeah.
she slept on me.
Yeah.
If I was not holding her, she did not sleep. So we co-slept. And then you read all this stuff about how co-sleeping, you roll on your baby, you kill your baby, you smother your baby, SIDS, all of this shit. And you're just like, I'm going to lose my mind.
you therefore are not able to sleep yourself.
I didn't sleep. I always say like I didn't sleep for the first year. And that's like pretty accurate.
Yeah. Okay. Well, for you,
But for the
for sure
first
is.
4 months, I would say that I maybe got 1 to 2 hours of sleep a day. Tops.
I didn't have it that bad, but it is such a state of utter exhaustion. And for the first, I don't remember how long because it really is such a blur, but for the first at least week or 2, you are incapable of sleeping when your baby's asleep because you have to make sure that he is okay.
You think they're going to die.
You actually think they're going to die, and you hear every single sound. If they so much as open their eyes, you're like, what?
And remember swaddling?
Yeah, Chase was the swaddle king. He swaddled the shit out of E. He was a great swaddler. So proud of it.
We would swaddle, but then we learned pretty quickly. And if anyone, you guys know my daughter, but she is a very independent woman.
Yeah, she wasn't made out for swaddles.
From the second she was born, she was against being swaddled. So we would have to swaddle her with her arms out.
I'm not surprised.
And then
at
she
all.
would scratch her face. So we would have to have her in those little gloves.
We'd use those too.
And she started flipping herself over like at a ridiculously early age. So swaddling became actually like not safe.
Yeah, yeah.
But she wouldn't sleep in the bassinet. She wouldn't be swaddled. She wouldn't do anything. We had that. Did you guys have that swing? Remember the swings?
We had the Mamaroo.
So we had a Mamaroo and then we had a swing. And you would put them in it because they need to be.
We had the baby Bjorn bouncer, which I think
do you
is
remember
similar.
you have to move. Did you have to move all day?
Oh, like when I'm holding
Yeah.
him? Yeah.
You can't stay still
No,
with
you're
the
constantly
baby.
bouncing. Even when you're not holding your baby, you're bouncing.
You have to, I want to like get up and show this, but like you literally have to do,
Yeah.
like even when your baby is a toddler, I catch myself going from side to side swaying.
Always.
When I'm talking to people, I'm like,
It always
because I did it so long.
Yeah, it always hit me when I was not holding E and I'd be in the kitchen waiting for something, just going like this. And I was like, okay, you don't need to be doing this right now.
And you have to hold them in such weird positions. Did you get mom wrist?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Did you, Morgan?
Wait, yes, I did.
Morgan got mom wrist.
Oh my God, I did. It hurt so bad. I forgot about that.
So I got mom wrist in
I felt
both
it
wrists.
mostly right here though in my thumb.
Yeah, so it goes down this way.
Yes. Oh,
So
I forgot about
I had
that.
to wear wrist braces for, it was agonizing. I got cortisone shots in both wrists that they didn't work.
Oh my God.
I was in so much pain that there was at one point, because you're holding the baby in so many awkward positions, and she wanted to face out, so I had to hold her like this.
Yeah.
And hold her little crotch.
Yeah.
And she would face out at the world. So I had to sit like this with her all day.
Yeah,
Outside,
God, I forgot
bouncing and
about that.
bouncing. Drinking fucking margaritas.
Yeah.
Literally bouncing with the baby.
Yeah.
And my wrist went. Like my wrists did not understand what was going on.
Well, and that's something about the first part. I don't want to say postpartum, but especially the first part of being home, that like you're not only in charge of keeping this new thing alive, but your body is just like effed up.
Oh,
like
effed.
Your boobs are, I don't know what they are.
Oh.
They're not. They're like
Squirting milk.
and just like big and painful and
Yeah.
big and painful.
And I remember like Nick like looking at my tits and me being like, don't even fucking think about it.
Oh, I don't even think Chase was tempted because he was just like, I think he was like, they like look like they hurt.
Again, my husband's a bigger creep than yours. Like I know we breach this subject on every single episode. My husband's a bigger creep than yours. My husband would look and be like, oh. And I'm like, I'm breastfeeding, motherfucker.
No. These bad boys are
He would be like,
the most
those
off
babies.
limits.
I'm like, get away.
Off limits for sure. Well, and there's a weird connection of this is another topic, but
You're having a baby suckling all
there's
day.
no,
It's like,
there's no connection there.
no touchy.
But like that's a factor. Your stomach, well, you especially because you had C-section.
Oh,
there's just so many things that are going wrong.
Okay, so producer Morg knows about this, but so when you have a C-section, the drugs that they give you make you swell.
Oh yeah.
To the point where I would say the first 2 to 3 weeks that you're home, you are a walking, living soup dumpling.
Yeah.
So my whole body was a soup dumpling. My feet were soup dumplings. And you could, like me and Nick would take pictures. You could have taken a needle and popped my leg and it would have been like, it was literally so heinous. There was water. My body was jiggling with water because I was so swollen. I had compression socks. I was as hideous as I've ever been times 10. And I was a soup dumpling with compression socks and a C-section scar, like holding a baby, doing this with no makeup and like a swollen face. I swear to the fact that my husband even looked at me any kind of way, I'm like, motherfucker must love me.
Oh, it's because of what he just witnessed you do too.
He must love me because I remember finally when it started kind of coming out, it was like 2 weeks in or something. And I started seeing that I had knees. I didn't know I had knees. So for 2 weeks, I didn't have knees. I didn't have elbows. I swear to God, you guys.
It's hard for me to visualize you like that.
So bad.
But I have seen post C-section. They're puffy. It's just swollen. It's swollen.
The medicine swells you.
Yeah.
And you are unrecognizable. I made a birthday video for our drummer. And I looked back at that video and it was like, I was in a chair and I looked like from Gilbert Godfrey. Remember, not Gilbert Grape, Happy, the mother in Gilbert Grape. I literally looked like you would have to chair lift me up from the seat. I was like, happy birthday. I was like, I'm here to wish you a happy birthday. And I sent it. I had the gall to send that fucking video.
Well,
no,
'cause you
I've
probably
never
didn't
been
know
more
at the
hideous in
time.
my life.
I had on one of the diapers that they give,
yeah.
and the huge pad. Whatever brand the hospitals decide to give you for a pad is this. This is the pad.
They're like,
They're like, fit that in your panties. Why don't you? Literally. I remember the first time I unfolded, I was like, there's not room for that.
No,
But it's what you use.
But you do bleed.
Well, you sit down,
you
though, and
do
you're
bleed
like,
that much.
There's a brick in between me and because it's so thick. So, anyways, I had on one of those and the panties that they give you in the hospital in my like sweet postpartum body. And Chase, I guess my back was facing him, and he goes, "Wait, don't move," and takes a picture of me, and I'm standing like this from behind, and it's like from a down angle of like my 17-inch thick pad in those panties. And every time I look at, we'll have to share that video. I'm not even ashamed. Every time I look at that picture, I laugh so hard because I'm like, first of all, who is that? Second of all, there's also this just like cute, like, oh, this is me in like
I know
that stage. And it's
wild.
But they send you
and you're
home.
leaking and oh God, and your nipples hurt so bad.
Yes,
so
your body is not.
And you're bleeding, regardless of C-section or vaginal birth, you're bleeding goo. There's so much stuff coming out all day and all night for 6 weeks.
Yeah,
I mean, really.
Yeah, no, I was in diapers for a while.
It is wild. It's a wild time. There's a picture that my mom took of me and Nick in bed, and it was at our first house. And so the bed was like way closer to the floor. We had like a way lower bed, and it's me and Nick, and I'm holding Farah, and Tito's trying to get in bed. My dog Tito, who's a fucking stalker. So the picture documents him stalking us and trying to get in bed. And we look, I mean, we haven't slept in
so tired
10 days.
So tired.
And my mom captured it. It was like 5 a.m. because 5 a.m. is any other time when you're postpartum.
Yeah, it could be breakfast or
any other
breakfast time. It could be
my mom was catching
hour.
her flight, and she took a picture before, and I said, this is literally, there were diapers everywhere. There were wipes. There was just, you're surviving.
Oh, I love those pictures though.
You're surviving, and you're just... And nobody, and I had friends, God bless my friends, dropping food off and dropping stuff off and just really like coming through for us. But you need that. You need people to come through for you.
Yeah. You really do.
I remember my mother-in-law and I, Nick's mom and I, hysterically crying together.
Yeah.
Like, because I had been through so much, and she took Farah, and she was amazing at helping me during that time. And Farah wouldn't stop crying, and I couldn't get her to calm down. And I handed her to Tracy, and I started hysterically crying, and she started hysterically crying with me, and we just cried together.
She just
because she understood. Like
she just
was like, I know, like she felt it. My mom too. I mean, like literally, like my mom is the baby whisperer. She can flip a baby over in all these different ways where you're like, that looks dangerous, but I trust you because you've done it 4 times.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're so scared
of everything.
You're holding the head, and and the baby can't do anything.
Yeah.
And my baby, I don't know about yours, had so many tummy problems. Like she couldn't get comfortable. In the 4th trimester, they don't know, their bodies don't work yet.
Yeah.
It's called the 4th trimester because they could easily be still in your womb.
Yeah.
Their digestion isn't working. They eat all the milk, and they eat too much, and then they spit it all up, and it hurts. And they don't know how to fart, and they don't know how to poop, and they don't know how to do anything. I remember like waking up being with her at 3 a.m, winding her little legs to help her fart.
We had the what's that little? What is it? What's it called? A Windy.
We had a Windy too.
Man, we loved
Frida
that
baby.
thing. Just stick that sucker right up, and it was like, it was like simultaneously sucking air while blowing. It was like
it helps them. and we did like you do the little drops of what is it called? The little grape water. And then you don't know, all these things online are like, don't give them anything. And then you read other mothers that are like, give them grape water. It helps. And
there's
then
so much figuring out, like that you literally, you get sent home and it is a free for all. And you have been so inundated with information. That is one thing that I tell my advice to new moms when they ask for it is trust your gut. And if you do want a second opinion, like you don't just want to rely on your new mom gut, then you need to ask a mom friend who you not only admire how she mothers, but you trust how she does it, and you see eye to eye with her on things, because otherwise you are in this vicious just rabbit hole of answers.
Hell.
Don't do
the first
this,
4
do
months
this.
you are in hell.
Yeah, and you can't look anything up because you're going to get 97 different answers, all of which end in this is bad for your baby. And so then you're just completely terrified and scared and don't know what to do. So that's what I always I'm like,
and you're right. My best friend who has 3 kids, my best friend Megan, she flew in and she stayed with me and she showed me so many things, because there's something to be said for someone that just did it. Like I love my mom and I love my mother-in-law, but it's so
it had been a minute,
it's so far. She has little kids. So she was like, here is what you do. And here is how, and she's like, you got to keep moving, keep moving. Every time I would hold Farrah and she'd be crying, she'd be like, you're not moving, you're not moving. Keep moving, keep moving. And she would show me, she just showed me all these tricks. And my friend Katie too, like one of my other best friends, showed me the hold where you hold them facing forward and you rock them like this, and it changed the game. She stopped crying. As soon as she could see the world, she stopped crying.
And that is one thing though that like and it's not even unsolicited advice, because that's another topic for another episode, but it's asking for help via a mom group or Google or whatever Instagram page
I was on
you follow.
all the mom Facebook groups because
you cannot do it that way. Because I mean, I even taking care of babies.
I did that too. I paid for taking care of babies.
Yes, we've talked about this before, and there are moms who swear by taking care of babies,
and a lot of the elements helped me. Like there were certain things that helped me, but other things didn't work for us.
For me,
the swaddling
it really
didn't work for us.
Stressed me out more because I tried to follow it to such a literal point that if and this sounds so bad saying now, but if at like freaking 2 months old wasn't sleeping when she said he should be, then I was like, no, this isn't right. Yes. And then I would feel like I was doing it wrong, and that means that like he wasn't doing it, which like is so ridiculous.
Oh, I was doing it all wrong.
And so I don't remember how long I tried that. It was not long though, thank God, before I was like, you are driving yourself crazy. This is putting an obscene amount of pressure on you and your newborn. Let it go. You'll figure it out. And that was kind of, thank God, a pretty early wake up call for me to be like, ask your friends who you trust. One of my dear mom friends, Fiona, had her son 4 months before E. And so I was always texting
Actually, my
her.
friend Talia, it was like 2 or 3 months or maybe 4 months where I was just like, she had just been through everything. Literally every single thing I was going through, she had just done.
Yes. And it helps so, I mean, I would text her at 2 a.m. and I would text, because she was still feeding. So no.
Moms are up.
Oh, she'd be like, oh babe, order this and send me a link. Be like, you need this. And I knew before I had Eli that I liked how Fiona parented and how she did it. We had very similar beliefs in terms of like what products do you like, just all of this stuff. And so having that go-to person versus searching something on Google, that's nobody asked, but that's my advice for moms is
I agree.
Find, even if it's just one mom that you see eye to eye with, let that be your source of what the hell do I do? Because Google ain't it.
No, Google, and I was the queen of Googling, and I Googled my kid. I mean, this is probably another episode, but my kid was sick for the first year and a half of her life. Over and over. We went to the hospital. We had tons of illnesses. It was so scary. And what I will say, like, to a testament to what you said, is every time I trusted my mom gut, I was right.
Ding, 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 ding.
And like,
it's so true.
And I believe, obviously, that there's a reason people are paid lots of money to be doctors. They went to school for fucking 20 years or whatever.
Yeah.
But nobody's the mom of your child but you. And nobody has that I know my child so well that I knew that when doctors were saying it's okay, that she wasn't okay.
Yeah.
And that we needed to go to the hospital. And it saved her life.
Yeah.
And that's something that I will always stand behind is a mother knows her child.
Mama knows best.
More
baby.
than the doctors, more than anybody. You know when something is up with your kid from the second they're born. You know when it's normal and when it's not normal.
Yep. Or not even that.
And in the beginning, everything's scary. So you're like, what is this? Blah, blah, blah. But when it comes down to it, when something is really wrong and people are telling you, no, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine. You know when it's not fine.
Yeah. Oh, mom gut's a real thing. Mom
know when it's not
intuition,
fine.
mom instinct, whatever you want to call it. It's
and you
a
have to
very
trust
real thing.
that. And it's the hardest thing. I mean, I knew co-sleeping for us was the right move.
Yeah.
And I knew that I was going to stay sober, that I wasn't smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
I wasn't smoking weed. I wasn't, if anything, I'd have a glass of wine or a beer. I wasn't getting drunk.
All the reasons that they would tell you not to.
I wasn't. I did safe co-sleeping. So, you make sure that there's no big pillows and covers around. And I did all the research that I had to do. And we basically breastfed all night. I mean, she would lay with me in my, the corner here, and we would nurse throughout the night. And when we weren't nursing, I would basically stay awake.
Yeah.
I mean, and you do, for me, just being able to lay down and close my eyes and feel her and know that she was sleeping gave me a little bit of rest.
Yeah.
When she was in her bassinet, she just wouldn't sleep. So nobody slept. So I was like, okay, this isn't working for us.
Yeah.
We're going to co-sleep. And I talked to a few friends. My best friend, Megan, also co-slept. And she told me, she's like, you just look at the safes. They say it's like the safe 7 rules. And, the science behind it does prove that if you do it the right way, it is a very natural thing. And women in other countries do it all the time. It's very, very normal to co-sleep with your baby if you're following certain guidelines.
Yeah. Well, I think that...
And no one plans to co-sleep. No one wants to co-sleep.
Yeah.
But it's survival.
Yeah.
And everybody's a judge and a jury until they haven't slept in 12 days.
Okay, well, everybody's also a judge and a jury until they're a mom.
Until they've had a kid.
Yeah.
And nobody gets to fucking tell you anything. Because nobody understands what it's like to not be able to think straight because you literally haven't slept in 2 weeks. And you're like, okay, you want to sleep on me? You want to be in bed with me? Let's fucking do it.
Well,
let's do it safely. And I would make Nick sleep in other rooms a lot of times because I was like, I don't trust, you don't have the connection with her. So you're not going to feel yourself falling asleep on her. You're not going to feel yourself smothering her. Whereas I feel everything.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a second that went by during that co-sleeping time. And we co-slept for 7 or 8 months. There wasn't a second that I felt that I was putting her in danger.
Yeah. So it was great for y'all.
And I know that there are horror stories.
Goes,
I know there are.
Sure.
And people do kill their kids co-sleeping. And I know that this is a controversial topic. But for me, it was the right move. For my family, it was the right move. And we did it. And I wouldn't take it back. It was a beautiful time for us.
And that's, what's crazy is the next kid could be different. Like for us, he did really well in his bassinet.
Yeah.
He slept right next to me.
But you're having an Aries next.
Oh, you might. And he's kicking like hell right now as we speak. And
good luck.
That's another thing that I've really had to kind of prepare myself for is he was overall a very easy baby.
Yeah.
This guy may be the opposite. And so all of this that I talk about, this coming home and learning this and doing all this. So in my head now I'm like, we've got this. Like we've done it before. It could be completely different. And we feel like we just have to start from square one. And I do know there's so much that we've already forgotten as well. Chase, when you were over, I think, when he asked this before we came over here. He was like, so what are the episodes tonight? And I told him or that we were doing like when, I'm bringing my baby home. And he was like, do you like remember that phase? And I was like, yeah, I mean,
it's hard to remember.
I think I remember most of it. And he was like, I don't remember any of it. And it's such
you black out.
Yeah. It's such a blur of because you are functioning on absolute fumes. And it's the most overwhelming, intense, exhausting time of your life, but it's also the most just euphoric time of your life.
And you don't have any other time where you get to only focus on this thing.
Yeah.
And it'll be different now with Eli.
I know.
you
Mom's
have
told
to
me
have-
about that with the first. They said, let him sleep on you. Soak up this time with him because this is the only time it will be you and him. Your next kid will be you. And that
it hurts. That's what I think about too.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like, is there room in my heart for another one? And there is, obviously. Our parents did it, you know.
That's what people say. I'll let you know.
There will be room in your heart. I mean, Farrah was colicky, and it was, I will say that there was nothing like that kind of hell where a kid screams for 15 hours a day, like crying.
Yeah.
She just nonstop cried for probably the first, I mean, it went in waves. I can't say it was all the time, but it was pretty bad. But now she is so wonderful.
Yeah.
She really is. I feel like
she's so wonderful.
I feel like we paid our dues. She was really tough health-wise, and also just she screamed and she was miserable. But she is so good.
Yeah.
She gives me some grief, but she really is good now.
She's a
so
great
I
girl.
feel like we really we went through it early on. But
I
don't know. You're gonna see. It's gonna happen so soon, and you're gonna see what kind of person he is.
I know. Based off of how he moves in my belly, I'm like,
comes out, but it's there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is for sure.
You can see it in their little eyes. Even when they're not able to really emote or whatever, you can see it in their little face, kind of who they are.
Oh, for sure.
I knew Farrah was going to be just a fearless, rule breaking
little tomboy.
I knew she was just going to be a badass.
Yeah.
Just from her little face in the beginning, I was like, oh, you're a force.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then other kids, you can see oh, you're a little sweet.
Yeah.
You're a little sweet nugget baby.
Yeah.
And so I just wonder what Wyatt will be like.
Oh gosh.
Oh my God.
It's fine. It's fine. By the time this is released, it'll be out. That's totally fine. I'm not
Wyatt.
I don't really
Wyatt
care.
might be Wyatt. The name to me sounds like a reckless.
He's gonna be a force to be reckoned.
Yeah.
Based off. Look at my belly right now.
Yeah, it's moving.
It's he doesn't stop. It's
By the time this is out, you're gonna have him.
Oh yeah.
And then we'll be talking about
Isn't
that.
crazy. And then I'll be able to have some wine with you.
I can't wait. Should we?
Let's cheers. Speaking of wine, I'll cheer. Oh no. Microphone down. I'll cheers my water. Cheers to figuring this shit out as we go.
Love you.
We're doing it. Love you.
Ow.
Rock, rock, rock me, mama.